Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the inauguration of Learn Togetherness II, organized by Kolkata Center for Creativity in collaboration with Sappho for Equality. Without further ado, I directly like to hand over to the director of KCC, Ms. Reena Dewan, to present a welcome address.
Thank you, Avery. Good evening and a very warm welcome to this evening today for the inauguration of Learn Togetherness Volume 2. This is an initiative under KCC DI umbrella, which stands for Diversity, Equity, Accessibility, and Inclusion. Throughout the year, though we try that let's make the place as much as inclusive as possible, but we really don't know how much we are able to make it inclusive and accessible for all of you. And we constantly seek your feedback, but we try to offer a safe space for all and promise inclusivity for people from all walks of life throughout the year. This program is an attempt to celebrate the LGBTQIA++ communities, their achievements, their impact, and life in all the glorious diversity. Learn Togetherness, organized in the physical space this year, last year it was online, is an exhibition centered on the theme of being queer, being home. Visual and performing art creations based on the idea of home explored through the queer lens were invited through an open call, and a selection of those are being showcased here today. From poems and letters to artworks made with found objects, photographs, and sculptures, exploring the concept of being queer, being home. The art creations stretch and bend the ideas of normativity. The exhibition seeks to make the audience reflect upon their own selves and think beyond the conventions set by our society. I would like to thank our collaborator, Sappho for Equality, for their guidance and their support during the organization of this exhibition. I would now like to take the opportunity to welcome the dignitaries gracing the inauguration with their presence today. Mr. Debanjan Chakravarty, Director of the British Council in East and Northeast India, and Mr. John A. Bagul, Principal of South City International School. Thank you to each and every one of you present with us today evening. We hope this exhibition provides a truly enriching and inspirational experience. I would now like to invite Indrani Banerjee, queer rights activist, queer artist, and member of Sappho for Equality, to share her thoughts on our collaboration and the outcome. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible up there? Yeah, okay. A very warm welcome to this grand evening. I'm so excited that finally we are having a physical exhibition. My name is Indrani and I'm here from Sappho for Equality. I would like to take this opportunity to speak a little bit about our collective and organization. Sappho for Equality is the oldest and the only LBT, which is lesbian, bisexual women, and trans masculine identifying persons collective and organization. It's based out of Calcutta, but our work, of course, is not limited to Calcutta alone. It's been a while that we've been associated with Kolkata Center for Creativity, and I must say that this association has been really, really wonderful. And as a queer person myself, as a queer woman, and as a queer artist, and also as a member of Sappho, I have to say this, that this is a platform that is very, very rare. And we were also involved last year's exhibition as well in Learning Togetherness. And the themes that KCC ideates. Last year, I remember it was Beyond the Binary, and this year it is being queer, being home. So, like I said, as a queer woman and as a queer artist, we have to remember that, when we talk about civilizations, we don't remember the rich businessmen and the people who made a lot of money 5,000 years back. It is that civilization's art that we still look up to. So art is the story of civilizations. So it is much beyond than just a poem or just an artwork or just a piece of writing. Like every stroke of the brush and every line written also has a historical context to it. And if I have to talk about queer art, while it does not necessarily mean that it is only art that is made by queer people or art that is made by allies with the theme, thematically queer as a subject, but it is also about queering the narrative, queering the world that we live in, queering every rigid, binary, oppressive, normative, hegemonic structures that is present in society. So that is the power of queer art. And as a queer artist, this sort of platform is very, very rare, that you can express, you feel free to express, provoke, and sort of, make your mark in the entire revolution as a queer person. So thank you, KCC. Welcome everyone all once again. I hope you enjoy the evening. There's some marvelous piece of work all around. Being queer, being home. This is a topic that is like, I remember the first time I heard this topic from KCC's mail and everything. It was, I just see, that is what I'm talking about, this intense feeling that I close my eyes, because this is so, so important, not as a queer person, but I'm sure for everybody, all human beings. So yes, being queer, being home, and what home means to us, what home means to queer people, what home means to everybody, and how can we queer the concept of home and create art to talk about all sorts of queer kinships and alternate non-normative family structures. That is what I personally am looking forward to, taking from here. So thank you very much. Thank you, KCC, and thank you everyone for being here, and enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Indrani. Moving on, may I request the Director of the British Council in East and Northeast India, Mr. Debanjan Chakravarty, to kindly share a few words with us.
Thank you so much. It's a very difficult act to follow, what Indrani said just now. Uh, but I'm absolutely delighted, and it's a great privilege to be here this evening, to be part of the inaugural program of Being Queer, Being Home. Um, the British Council, as you know, is the UK's cultural educational organization, and um, our commitment to equality, diversity, and inclusion, and especially inclusion of LGBTQIA and the alliances and the friendships, are, I think, quite central to our values, to who we are. And I'm personally very proud to be working for this organization. It's been 22 years now, and I've been part of the journey of British Council in India when this is pre-Section 3, repeal of Section 377, and how we tried our best and went against the current of the discourse to include LGBTQIA as quite central to our work in arts, in culture, and in education. Um, in arts, I mean, we have a number of initiatives that include and are part of our LGBTQIA work. Um, Five Films for Freedom, which is a collaboration we have with British Film Institute, Flair Festival. It reaches tens of millions of people each March, and is a partnership we have in India with Geo Cinema. Last week, we launched India UK Together, a season of culture. This is India and UK celebrating 75 years of India's independence with a range of government and non-government organizations across India. It's a 2-year program that have just started to run. And as part of India UK Together, we have a number of very interesting projects that I would like to have conversations with all of you about after across the whole year and immediately after the program. One of them is Language is a Queer Thing with BBC. We are working with the Verb Festival, and the Queer Muslim Project brings poets together from across India and the UK to share and celebrate the India-UK Together season as part of the Birmingham Commonwealth Games this September. That's the boring part. So that's the official part. I had a look at the exhibition, and I'm deeply moved by the themes covered in the exhibition. And it reminded me first of Edward Hopper, because the idea of being at home and not being at home at the same time, I think, is quite central to the way I read Edward Hopper. And though he's not traditionally a queer artist, but I think that the idea of being home and at the same time not being there is quite powerful there. I found very strong echoes of some of Bhupen Khakkar's work, one of my favorite artists in India. And I think that particular theme of being queer and being home, I find resonated in T.S. Eliot's poem, The Wasteland. Incidentally, this is the 100th year of Wasteland's publication, and I would end by reading one of my favorite pieces, sections of The Wasteland, which I think sits at the heart of the poem. This is section 3 on fire. No, this is water. I, Tiresias, though blind, throbbing between two lives, old man with wrinkled female breasts, can see at the violet hour, the evening hour that strives homeward and brings the sailor home from the sea. The typist, home at tea time, clears her breakfast, lights her stove, and lays out the food in tins. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your words, sir. As memorable as the wasteland itself is, these are some of, in my opinion, one of the most memorable parts from the wasteland. Moving on from there, I would now like to invite the principal of South City International School, Mr. John A. Bagul, to share his thoughts with us.
Thank you, and good evening to one and all present here. Good evening, Dr. Debanjan and Reena. Thank you, Reena, for having me a part of this wonderful initiative. As the founding principal of South City International School, we are just a 13-year-old school, but I strongly believe that we do have progressive ideas. I have 2 of my students seated out here. They are in class 12, and they are the founding members of an LGBTQI+ club in the school itself. I mean, we've started an LGBTQI+ club. We've been having discussions on these topics in school through debates and various other platforms. But then another student of ours in class 11 decided to formalize it. And when she decided to formalize it, I said, why not? Go ahead. As the head of a school where I deal with impressionable young adults, I think all of you would agree that your life can be torture and hell, or it can be wonderful if you get the right support right from your school itself. I walked around this entire exhibition as Reena told me, please come early and have a look and imbibe the flavors. I've told my students and my art teacher too to come in. And the entire concept of being queer and being home, I found resonated with just one picture there, which I truly resonate with the theme is, I think, by Oshni Janet Sarkar, where she says, being the home is where my people are. And I think Dr. Debanjan also said the same thing. Home is not necessarily where your blood relatives are, but home is where you feel accepted. And in school itself, they have around this year, with all this pandemic and online, they have around 17 students as part, boys and girls, we are a co-ed school, as part of the club. And no one is questioning our students about their orientations or gender identification or whatever. It's just that you want to be a part of a club, you be a part of it. And they'll have a lot of discussions and activities to be done. A couple of years back, I think around 8 years back, my students do remember their seniors, because though we typically identify genders with boys wearing pants and girls wearing skirts, in school, when I had a couple of students who were girls uncomfortable in wearing a skirt, and a sports uniform coincidentally is track pants for all. So in sports it's a track pant for all, but for a formal school uniform it's a skirt and pants. But when these kids told me, sir, and they were wearing only track pants, the sports uniform every day, I realized that these girls did not want to wear a skirt. And so we made it optional for any student who wanted to wear any uniform. We've also had on a specific day, on one day, some of our male students decided to wear skirts in school for a discussion and debate on gender equality. I think it requires a lot of courage from these young adolescents, and they can do this only if they get the right support. Being a new school which was founded in 2009, I think I had a lot of leeway and leverage to open the doors wider. We've also had a faculty member who left us last year to his father's death, who was having orientations with a male partner, wonderful teacher, performing arts, but no one in school ever questioned his sexual orientation or his male partner, nothing. So when I employ teachers, I just look at their qualifications and their attributes, personality, and how good and talented they are for the children. So with the freedom that the children get in school, we do have a gender neutral washroom too, which is right out there in the lobby, and we are an SAT center. So when students come for the SAT exams from other schools to our school, they are so confused. They are searching for a boys' washroom and a girls' washroom, and when we tell them that's the washroom, they say, but there's nothing written there whether it's for boys or girls. So when we are providing a gender neutral environment, people are confused because they are so conditioned and used to, you will only go to a boys' washroom or you will only go to a girls' washroom. Of course, being naughty, boys do get into a girls' washroom and girls do get into boys' washrooms for naughtiness and mischief, and all that is different. But I'm so thankful to KCC, not just because of today's topic and platform, but because KCC is like a whiff of fresh air into the city, though I'm in the city just for 13 years. And KCC is how old? 3.5. And we have a very strong arts department, and our art teacher is so enthused with all the activities going on in KCC that we are really thankful that Imami and KCC provide such a platform. I'm not bothered about the adults. I'm more concerned about my young children who are at an impressionable age and who come here regularly for all the events that you have. And now too, we will be getting in next week our art students plus our LGBTQI plus students to come and visit the exhibition. and they may have an adda here, talk, have some discussion, and then they will also write papers on it. So you are the one who provides a stimulus for us, who at every level. So thank you, Reena, as you represent KCC. And today's event, of course, is certainly unexpected. And for me to be here representing a school, it's a great honor for me, especially when my students are seated out there in such an audience, not necessarily adults who know who they are and who they want to be. My students are at a young age who don't know who they are, and they have no proper guidance, and they are so confused. And they do talk to teachers, and teachers have to be sympathetic. And there has to be a proper guidance for them. And so we do work with different organizations who can give them that direction. And I'm sure most of you out here would realize, if you had the proper guidance and support at a young age, life would have been much easier or less stressful. So thank you, and that's all I must say. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. I am pretty sure that all of us here really wish and hope that all the schools follow in the footsteps of South City International School. This is really commendable. You're walking the talk, basically. And finally, I would like to let the audience know that a queer theatre production directed by Shantishpur Anuchintan, which is called Ghar, will be presented at KCC on 26th of June at 6 p.m. So block your dates and please be here. Bring your friends and family and have a great time. And before we end the inauguration ceremony officially and let the celebrations begin, whatever pictures you're taking, don't forget to tag us and keep bringing your friends. Have a great time. And well, that's it. Good evening and have a great evening here. Thank you.